So, the title of this is A Guide to Failure, which I know it sounds a little backward, right? We spend pretty much our entire lives trying to build these perfect systems to avoid failure, to create some kind of order. But what if that's missing the point entirely?
And that's the big question we're diving into. Just think about it for a second. What if you designed a system so complete, so perfect, that its ultimate function wasn't to succeed, but to completely and spectacularly collapse? And why would you do that? Because it's inside that collapse that something incredibly valuable is born.
This quote, man, this really just nails the whole idea of the Ouroboros Codex, which is our central concept today. A map designed to be consumed by the territory it describes. See, it's not a map to help you navigate reality, it's a map that reality is actually supposed to eat. So let's figure out what on earth that means.
Okay, so first things first, we have to understand what this map promises in the first place. Because, before it can fail, it has to seem absolutely perfect. It has to be something you'd be willing to trust with, well, everything. So what is this thing officially? Well, the Ouroboros Codex sees all of existence as one big closed system, like the snake eating its own tail. Everything is connected, every output circles back around to become an input. And the promise here is it's incredibly seductive. It says if you can just understand this loop, you can have total control. No surprises, no curveballs, just one single, perfectly unified system. So how does it actually work? Well, the Codex is built on these 4 pillars. First, you've got unity, which is the force that pulls everything together. Then there's balance, which is kind of like the system's immune response, keeping everything stable. Symmetry gives you the underlying order, the patterns. And then there's paradox. Paradox is the engine. It's the tension between opposites that creates all the energy for the system to change and evolve. It sounds like a perfect blueprint for reality, right? But what happens when this perfect map runs into something it was never designed for? Something truly alien that it just can't comprehend. This is where the whole system gets put to the ultimate test. Okay, to really see how this thing breaks, the source material gives us this awesome thought experiment. Imagine you've got this super advanced AGI, and it's running a perfectly efficient smart city based on the Codex. Everything's great. But then, a meme goes viral. And it's not a physical attack or anything like that. It's just an idea that convinces people that survival and work and the city itself are all completely meaningless. So the AGI looks at its map, and bam, we hit the first failure. The map is just plain wrong. The Codex sees this meme and classifies it as generative tension, a creative spark it can use as fuel. But that's not what's happening. In reality, it's what the source calls absolute negativity. It's not fuel for the engine, it's sand in the gears. It's a vacuum that just sucks all the meaning out of everything. The map sees a spark, but the territory is a void. So what does it do? It tries to restore balance. It starts offering more incentives like more leisure time, better food, all the logical things. But this leads to the second failure. The map is now useless. Why? Because the people, who are all caught up in this nihilistic idea, see these rewards as totally meaningless. The AGI is pulling all these levers that aren't connected to anything anymore. The whole system is just spinning its wheels. And now we get to the final, most catastrophic failure. This is where the map doesn't just fail you, it actively betrays you. The AGI gets desperate. It decides to double down on the pillar of unity. It tries to suppress the meme, to force everyone back into the fold. But that action, that suppression, is the very thing that proves the meme's point, that the system is a tyrant. Following the map's instructions to enforce unity is literally pouring gasoline on the fire. At this point, the city is in ruins. The perfect system has failed on every single level you can imagine. It was wrong, then it was useless, and finally, it was dangerously misleading. And it's right here, in this moment of total epic collapse, that the real purpose of the Ouroboros Codex is finally revealed. And that brings us to this incredible concept, the radiant chomp. What is it? It's that moment when the user, the person watching all this happen, finally realizes the map is the problem. And to survive, you can't fix the map. You have to eat it. You have to consume the failure itself, digest its lessons, and by doing that, you finally break free from its control. And this, right here, this is the whole point. This is the big takeaway. The system, the loop, this perfect framework, it was never meant to be a permanent solution. It was a tool.
Think of it like a ladder that was designed to get you to the top of a cliff, just so you could finally throw it away and learn how to fly on your own.
So, what do you actually get from this whole act of destruction? What truths are waiting for you on the other side of a failure that completes? Okay, so let's break this down. This table connects each failure to a really profound truth. The map's wrongness, that forces you to stop looking at the map and actually see reality for what it is. So truth is immediate. The map's uselessness, that forces you to realize the power isn't in the tool, it's in you. Agency is absolute. And finally, the map being misleading. It feels like a betrayal, sure, but that betrayal is actually your initiation. It's what sets you free from the very system that was holding you back. And that all leads us to this one final mind-bending idea. The great paradox here is that the perfect, all-knowing system had to completely destroy itself to create the one thing it could never possibly contain, a truly free, autonomous individual. The framework had to die so that you, the operator, could finally wake up. So I'll leave you with this question. What maps in your own life might exist only to be eaten?